Bartlett here, and today I am going to show you how to manage your email list subscribers using HighLevel. There are many ways of doing this. However, in today's training, I'm going to actually show you how to add points based on actions that your subscriber will take, and then use those points to create a sales pipeline so that you can easily look at your pipeline like I have here. I just have two people here to use this as an example, but you can easily look at your pipeline and be able to tell, who are the hot leads, who are the warm leads, and the cold leads, and even set up different automations so that maybe when you get a hot lead, that goes into your manual call list so that you can actually call them and see if they have any questions or whatever you can do to help them move forward to actually becoming a customer instead of just a lead. Okay, so I want to show you how to get this set up. And if you're not a HighLevel member yet, you can definitely go to bridgetbartlett.com and create a free trial. If you're already a HighLevel member and you're interested in upgrading to SaaS, you can also go to bridgetbartlett.com, and we have options for you to join as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, and the very first thing that we need to do is obviously create the sales pipeline. Now, I've already created this one because, there's some thought went into this, so I actually had to build it before I did the training so that I could make sure all the moving parts are in place. Okay, so to create a sales pipeline, it's so simple. You see, I only have leads here, but what you want to do is go create a new pipeline. You can call it leads, and then you can just simply say cold, add a stage. We'll say warm, and then we'll say hot. Okay. And so once you get this created, you just click save, and then now you have your sales pipeline. Okay, so that's pretty easy. Now, the next step is, since we're using a point system, we need to create a custom field. Okay, so I'm going to go to settings, and I'm going to go to custom fields, and you can add a custom field for the lead score. Okay, and this is going to be a number. So we're going to choose number, and then I'm going to click next, and then we're just going to call this lead score. Okay. And then we can choose, it's going to be a contact. And now we can choose in our CRM, do we want this new custom field to fall under the category of contact, general info, or additional info? So typically I like to choose general info, or you could even create a new folder and call it whatever you want to, like maybe email activity or something like that if you have multiple you want to use. In this case, I'll just say general info, and then you can add your placeholder here, which I'll just copy this. And then we have our placeholder, and then save. Okay, so that's all you need to do to create it. And you can see here that I already have one called lead score. Okay, now if I wanted to edit this, I just choose edit, and then you can see that's exactly how I created it. It's number field. I just say lead score, general info. Okay, so now that you have a lead score, what you're doing is you're creating a field or a criteria that you can now use inside of your HighLevel account inside the CRM. So that's super useful, and you'll see why. Okay, now that I've created the custom field, I have the pipeline, what I need to do now is start creating my automations. Okay, so when I go to the automation tab, and I've actually created a folder here, there are 3 basic workflows that you need to have, okay, to move through the cold, warm, and hot leads. All right, so we're going to start with workflow number 1. Now, to create a workflow, super simple. You just go create workflow. You can start from scratch, continue, and now we're inside the workflow. Okay, so I'm going to go back now, and I want to delete this, of course. Okay, and confirm. Oops. Confirm. Probably would have just been easier if I typed it out. And delete. Okay, so now let's go to the cold leads. All right. So the very first step of the cold leads workflow is going to be to create a contact. All right. Now, this workflow is going to be triggered when a new contact is created manually on any form, anything inside of your account. When a new contact is created, it's going to trigger this workflow. So we want to be a little bit more specific before we add it to the timeline. Okay, so I actually created an if else step here, and to do this, to grab this step, this is the one that I'm referring to, the if else. Okay, so when I click here, You can see I just renamed it if else, and now it's email address. So what I'm trying to figure out from this new contact is this is conditional logic. Okay. So I am saying, do they have an email address and are they not a member? I do not want members because remember, this is a sales pipeline. So if they're already a client, I don't really need them in this pipeline. Okay. So I'm going to say, do they have an email address and do they not have this tag? Okay. So you can choose in your segments here, you can choose the and or option by simply toggling over and or. So if I wanted to say they have an email address, which this says here, right? Email is not empty. And or I could say, or they have a phone number. Okay, so I could choose that option if I wanted to. So that option is here. Now I can create additional branches if I want to. So if I wanted to say, yes, like maybe I wanted to say, do they have an email address? Yes, and then create a branch off to the side. Or are they a member? Yes, and then I could create a branch for that. But when you do it like this, it's just one branch. Okay, so this is the criteria that I've set. And then there's always going to be a none option. Okay, so does this meet the criteria? Yes. If it does not, it's going to go into this column. Okay, so if there's an email address, which is important because obviously I need a way to contact them, and you may want to put, is there an email address and a phone number, if that's part of your workflow, or, however you want to build this out using the conditional logic helps you or helps the system to start moving things through exactly how you want them to be. Okay. So if they do have an email address or theirs is not empty and they are not a member, they're going to the yes column and I'm going to move them to an opportunity in my pipeline. Okay, so I'm going to add them to the cold lead stage. Now to do that, you just go to the plus sign and then you go to create or update opportunity. That's what it looks like, blank. Okay, so I've just named this move to cold leads because that's the action. And I do like to, when I'm building these workflows, I like to name my actions. That way, when I come back and look at it at a different time, I know what's going on. So move to cold leads. And of course, I'm choosing my pipeline. I only have one, so it's leads. And then I want to choose the stage that I'm going to put them in. So this would be cold. I can choose the opportunity name and source and lead value. Okay, now I'm going to use custom values for this because what it's going to do is make it dynamic. And then if Billy Bob comes in and that's his name, it's going to put Billy Bob's name on the opportunity. Okay, now whatever source they came from, it's going to put that. So maybe they came from Facebook ads, or maybe they came from a specific website that you have. It will add that there. Okay, now this is really simple. To use these custom values, you just go to contact, for example, and you can use any of these things and you'll see source right there. Okay, so whatever source they came in. Now, the lead value, this is technically a dollar amount, and that lead value is going to update on your dashboard. Now, you may not, if you're very particular about, the amount of money on your dashboard and all of that, maybe you don't want the lead score there because it's going to basically say however many points, it's going to put it in dollar points. But if you're not that particular about it, and actually I kind of like this idea because the lead is worth more as it moves through. And, the rule is basically every email is worth like $2 a month. So you can, like I said, you can gauge your score however you want to. But I do like the idea of using the lead score in the lead value here. Okay, now if you do want to do that, all you need to do is go to the little label there, and you're going to go to contacts, and then you'll see custom fields. And the only custom field I have here is the lead score that we created together. So I would just click lead score, and then it adds it there to that column. If you don't want the lead value there, if you don't want it to mess up your dollar amounts in your account, you can always just leave this blank. Okay. Now I'm going to choose this status as open because this is just a sales pipeline. So I do not actually have I've not made a sale. right? So this is just open, right? I haven't done anything. Now, once I have all of this set, and of course I can allow this to move in between previous stage, but that wouldn't make sense for this use case, because if they're a hot lead, they're always going to be a hot lead unless they're a customer. They're never going to go back to being a cold lead, right? And then I can allow duplicate opportunities, but for this use case, that wouldn't make sense because you can't be a cold lead and a hot lead at the same time. So I'm going to leave those toggled off, and I'm going to save action. Now, one important thing here, though, is you want to make sure that these workflows that I'm showing you, you allow re-entry. It's not so, well, it actually is important for this one as well, because they may opt in a couple of different times. And so you can, like for example, in my BridgetBartlett.com, you can register for my free training and tools. And a lot of times people will register there twice because maybe they didn't remember doing it before. So I want them to go through this every single time to make sure, if maybe they used a different email address or whatever it is, to make sure that I am capturing all of this. Okay, so by having that toggled on, you allow your contacts to come through this multiple times. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save that. And then we're going to move on to what happens when it's a warm lead. Okay, so this is really where the math comes into play. Okay, so again, going to settings, you can see that I've allowed re-entry. I just want to make sure to point that out, because your automation won't work properly if that's not done. Okay, so the trigger for this workflow is going to be opened. Okay, so you can choose, when you go to workflows, you can choose email event, you can search email, and then you can choose any of these events that you want to search through. So you could do one for bounced, which only works for Mailgun, anytime they've clicked or complained of spam, opened, or unsubscribed. Okay, so you can actually build automations based on all of those workflows. So that's going to be the trigger here. Okay, now when someone actually opens an email, all right, that's obviously very valuable to me because I know that's a valid email. I know that they've opened it up. Okay, so you want to click the plus sign here, and you can scroll all the way down to where it says math operation. And if you look here, you see our lead score. Okay, you could also use current date or birth date if you have a use case for that. But when you choose lead score, you can see I'm just adding a point here every time someone opens my emails. So now if they've opened my emails 10 times, obviously that's valuable to me. I want to know that if someone is consistently opening my emails. So every time someone opens my emails, I'm going to add a point to their lead score field in their profile. Okay, so I'm just choosing where it says update field. That's the field that I want to update inside their profile, is the lead score field that we created together. Okay, so I'm going to be adding a point there. All right, so that's why I gave it this title. Now, what I want to happen next is another conditional logic. Okay, so I'm going to say, now that we've added a point, now does this person have more than 2 points? If it's greater than or equal to 2 points, then I want to send to the warm lead workflow. Okay, so I'm choosing here, the conditional logic is going to be lead score. And again, you can access that by going to the contact information and then scrolling down to your custom fields where it says lead score. Okay, now I want to choose what's the criteria for the lead score. And I have all of these options here. Okay, I just chose greater than or equal to 2. All right, so I just type in the number I want for my lead score. And another option that I wanted to check is the tags. Okay, so just to make sure, when you're choosing tags, you go to custom details, you go to tags, and then we're going to choose, does it include, does not include is what we want, members. Okay, so members is the tag that we're using for all of our members. Okay, so I'm just going to X out of that. Now, that is the criteria I set for the conditional logic. Now, if it meets the criteria, because you can see we only had one segment there, one branch, so it is yes or no, but I called it greater than or equal to 2 points. So if the answer is yes, it does meet this criteria, then I want to create or update an opportunity. Okay, so this is when we're going to move to the warm leads, and I'm going to choose the warm lead stage in the pipeline. And again, I'm going to use custom values for the name, the source. I'm going to go ahead and add that lead score, and I want it to be open. Okay. So I also want allow reentry. Okay. So this is the workflow for adding points to the warm leads. Okay. So I'm saying like, hey, if they actually have more, and again, your points may vary. It's up to you, whatever you want your point system to be. Just for this training, I said, do they have more than 2 points? If they do, we're going to move to the warm leads section. Okay. Or the warm leads stage. Now for the last one, here we're going to choose email events, and this is clicked. Okay, so if you think about it, opening and clicking, those are valuable things, right? When we're sending emails to make sure that our email reputation is the best it can be, we want to make sure that it lands in their inbox, and the way to do that is to have great subject lines. We want them to open our emails, and if they click in our emails, that's even better. So we want to make sure that in our points system that we're giving points for all of the opens and all of the clicks. Okay, so here I'm choosing email events clicked. Okay, so again, they can come through here multiple times. Okay, so I'm going to add a math option, and again, I'm using lead score as my field. So I'm going to select my field lead score. I'm going to choose add, and of course you could add, divide, subtract, multiply, and then I'm going to give it a value of 2 points. Okay, so now with my conditional logic, I'm saying, hey, do they have more than 6 points? Because you think if 1 point is for opening and 2 points are for clicking, that means that they've opened and clicked, right? So, or they've just opened a lot or something, right? They did something to earn 6 points. So that's pretty good, right? So I'm going to make my conditional logic here, yes. Do they meet this criteria? Is their lead score greater than or equal to 6? And it does not include the member tag, right? Because I don't want them to be a member and then go through this process. So if the answer is yes, then I'm going to move them to the opportunity stage, that is the hot leads. Okay, so I'm just calling it move to hot leads. And then I have my leads pipeline, and then my hot leads here, and then the opportunity and all of the custom values here. And of course, it's still open, okay, because I have not actually made a sale. But maybe here at this point, you want to click the little plus sign, and then you want to send like a manual text, or you can actually send a ringless voicemail here. You can send an automated text at this point. I do definitely think this is a valuable step here for you to capture those leads. I guarantee it'll make a huge difference in your sales process by adding some type of a manual action or some type of disruptive thing, something different when your leads get to this point. Okay, maybe you want to send a ringless voicemail and you want to say, offer them something special that just makes it completely irresistible. They need to take action. Okay. And then also the manual call here, when you choose this option, it actually puts this in your manual actions. And let me show you here. You go to conversations and you go to manual actions. And then here is where if you added the people to your manual call list, this is where they will show up. Okay, so you would literally just click let's start, and then it would start like a power dialer. It would start moving through all of the calls or manual text messages if that's what you chose. Now, something that's really, really cool too is not only can you create these opportunity pipelines, and you can see what it looks like here, like that's the name that we chose, that would be the source, and then this is the lead value that we chose. Okay, so this Jane Smith has 2 points. Okay, and then Bridget Bartlett, she has 6 points. All right, now if you wanted to go to the contacts here, you can actually create smart lists based on the point system. So these are all of my contacts. I could go to more points, and then I could go scroll all the way down here until we get to the custom fields, and you'll see lead score. So I can say if a lead has 6 points, or maybe I want to say greater than 2 points, or I want to say lesser than 6 points, I could save. So let's just say greater than 0 points. Okay, let's just say this. So anyone who has more than 2 points will show up in this smart list. So if I wanted to create, if I wanted to say greater than 6 points, and I wanted to create a smart list for all of my hot leads, I could actually choose that, or it says greater than, so let's say 5, because that one was 6. So now I have a smart list that I can call hot leads, and then I could do something special with them. Maybe I wanted to send emails, or I just wanted to, make a special offer for all of the people in my hot leads list. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed this training. That's a lot of really cool information. Super exciting to see how we can very easily customize and manage our email subscribers list. So thank you all so much for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Go make your vision a reality. Bye. Thank you so much for joining us for today's training. If you have any questions, you can join us for open office hours starting right now at bridgetbartlett.com. It's free and open to